Here are 3 reasons the SAT and ACT are beatable tests. Number 1, they're standardized. We all know this, right? SAT and ACT, they're standardized tests. But what does that mean? It means that there's a certain level of consistency that the tests need to have from test to test to test. They're going to repeat many of the same topics from test to test. For example, in SAT writing, you're almost guaranteed to see 1 misplaced modifier question per test. You're going to see a lot of the same question types, right? In reading, you got those 2-part questions for SAT. For science, you've got questions where you're going to have to cross-reference information from one figure to another. So you're going to have the same question types from test to test. You can prepare for that. They're going to try to lay the same traps again and again, particularly in the SAT reading. Extreme answer choices, reusing words from the passage, going too far with inferences. All of these traps, you're going to see them again and again. And overall, when you do these tests, you will begin to notice patterns. Patterns in each of the sections, patterns with different question types, patterns for solutions. And so that's why the main thing to do to get better, besides, of course, learning the content and targeting these different topic areas, is to practice with real tests. Take practice sections, take practice tests, review your work. I mean, if there's one thing I could say to somebody, if you could only do one thing to improve, it would be take practice tests, do them timed, do practice sections, do them timed, and most importantly, review your work. It's not enough to just do a test and then check your score and then do another test and check your score. You got to actually put the time in to review. Now, you may be able to do a lot of that review yourself. You might need help with some of the questions perhaps. So there you could work with a friend, work with a teacher, a tutor, check out a book or videos like we have that go through solutions. So you'll probably need some help, but that's the number 1 thing. That helps you recognize those patterns, see the question types that come up again and again, so that you'll know what you're going to be finding when you take your test when it counts. The second reason the SAT and ACT are beatable tests is, with the exception of the grid-ins or free response in SAT math, every answer is in front of you, right? It's a multiple choice test. So on every single question, somewhere right in front of your face is the answer. This is quite a tantalizing idea. I mean, the answers, they're right in front of us. We are so close, and yet in many cases so far. All we need to do is find which one of those answers is right. And it's funny, even though the answers are in front of us, they still do a pretty good job, both tests, in pushing us away from the right answer and towards wrong answers. But you can take advantage of this weakness, and that's by using the choices. The choices they give you, both wrong answers and right answers, are another batch of information that you can use, of course, to answer those questions. The question matters, the passage matters, the math matters, the formulas matter, whatever it may be. But those choices are another batch of information that you can use. So make sure you're using process of elimination. Make sure you're plugging in answers. Make sure you're evaluating those choices, squeezing as much information as you can out of them so that you can eliminate the wrong answers and move towards the right ones. And the third reason the SAT and ACT are beatable is that you can take the test multiple times. Think of your score not really as a single number, rather a range of numbers, a range of possibilities, right? A range of probabilities. You can imagine if you took the SAT 1 million times and you averaged those scores, you'd have sort of an average number, but your score on any given test would vary by plus or minus, 40, 50, 60 points from that true mean score. And so what this means is that when you take the SAT, it is a sample, right? It's a sample of this sort of hypothetical range of possible scores. And as we know, if you've studied anything having to do with surveys and data with the SAT math, a sample is a good approximation of the true value, but it's only an approximation. And the more times you get samples, the different approximations you'll get. Sometimes they'll be lower than the true value. Sometimes they're right on. Sometimes they're higher than the true value, right? Because it's a mean, it's a range. So that's why it's important sometimes to exercise a little patience with your score. I know a lot of students want to finish as soon as they can for good reasons, right? You got a lot of other things you want to focus on, but sometimes it pays off to be a little patient, right? Take your tests when you're ready, but don't be afraid to take a stab at the tests. Especially now with score choice and the way score reporting is working, The fear of taking it too much in colleges not liking that, I think, is a little lessened nowadays. Again, it depends from college to college. It depends on your situation. But focus instead not on, will such and such college be upset if I take it a fourth time? Focus instead on, if I take it that third time or that fourth time or whatever, am I getting a chance to get to that top score? Am I getting a chance to take a sample from somewhere on the upper end of my range? So thanks so much for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment below. There's also some links in the description if you want to reach out to us or check out some of our other offerings. So we'll see you next time.